When it comes to emulating retro games, mini PCs have been booming in popularity, especially over the last 12 months, especially with the rising costs of single board computer solutions such as Pandora boxes, Raspberry Pis. With minor improvements on those SBCs, a lot of people are turning to mini PCs when it comes to their retro gaming needs. If you want to build an arcade machine or plug something into an arcade machine that will run retro games and run them really well, mini PCs have become a great solution for all of us out there. Now, this is the Blackview MP200 mini gaming PC. The folks over at Blackview did send this to me for review about 2.5 months ago, and I hadn't had a chance to get to this yet, but I noticed that the product is currently 42% off on Amazon, so I figured I better put together a quick video and show this off to you guys if you haven't heard about this one before. Inside the box, you get an HDMI cable. Always nice when companies provide you an HDMI cable. You also have a stand for the mini PC to go on. You have these metal brackets with screws for mounting if you need to mount it anywhere, as well as a gigantic power brick, probably the largest power brick I've ever seen. The power brick probably weighs more than the actual mini gaming PC does. But then again, don't forget to lose your instruction booklet. I say that all the time. I have like a drawer full of instruction booklets because, you know, if you ever have any questions and need to troubleshoot your products, there you go. Now, one thing I gotta tell you is when I took this out of the box and started peeling the plastic off this mini PC, I was surprised by the weight. Fairly light, but it doesn't feel super cheap. Also, it's got this really nice rubber texturized grip on it and nice black colors with the off black textured grip. Like, from an appearance point of view, I was actually surprised. I was like, hey man, this looks pretty cool compared to like some Lenovo PCs and things like that aren't that attractive. You can tell Blackview takes some pride in it. On the front, you have your power switch, you have a headphone jack, 2 USB 3.0 ports, as well as a USB-C port on the front. And on the rear of the device, you have 2 more USB 3.0 ports, which is fantastic. You have a display port, an HDMI port, an Ethernet port, and then there's the little port that you plug the power supply in to fire everything up. You know, compared to some Lenovo micro mini PCs and some other brands, Blackview actually takes some pride, I think, in the appearance of these because you could tell they put a lot of effort into at least making this thing look cool, even though aesthetically it doesn't really matter. It's really what's inside that counts, right? So inside of this particular mini game PC, you have an Intel i5 processor, 4.5 gigahertz. You got 16 gigabytes DDR4 RAM, 512 gigabytes solid state drive, mini computer with 6 cores, 12 threads, HDMI, Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, Gigabit Ethernet, and can support up to 4K resolution. Here's that stand that came included in the box. All you got to do is slide in the mini console and boom, there you go. Look at that. It's not going to tip over, fall, anything of that nature, even when you're constantly plugging wires in and out of this thing. I have the mini PC connected to my capture card right now, so we could take a look at what we're dealing with here. One thing I could say is just like any other mini PC, you have to set up your Windows and download updates and all that. It takes about 30 minutes or so to actually get the mini PC up and running. I went ahead and I plugged in an external hard drive that I have, and I'm going to be running Project Core Type R. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with this or not. This is a retro FE front end that the Pax R Us Discord and folks have been working on. It's similar to CoinOps, but different. I guess there's some kind of blood feud between those two groups, which I don't care about. I just want to play games. I don't pick sides. But either way, man, we're going to fire up some Project Core Type R and take a look and see how this PC can handle running some of these games. All right, let's check the loading times here and all that. I'm not too worried about this thing. This thing should definitely be able to run all arcade games, and that's probably the main reason why to pick up one of these mini retro gaming PCs is to run arcade games, as well as some of the lower end consoles, your Nintendos, your Super Nintendos. If you really want to play console games on an arcade machine, taking a peek here, games firing up, no concerns. You can run most arcade games on a potato, I think is what people say. So I'm not too worried about all that. A lot of people, they try to benchmark all these mini PCs on how well they run a lot of the consoles, and they try to run Switch They try to run PlayStation 3, things like that. Well, you could tell just based upon the specs and performance that this is probably going to cap off at PlayStation 2, right? Like, that's probably going to be your sweet spot. Any console after PlayStation 2, it's going to get iffy whether or not it's going to run those games with the hardware that's built into this mini gaming PC. But if you are going to pick some of your favorite console games that can kind of translate into a fun retro gaming experience, like for instance, this is the Sega Dreamcast version of Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Audio sounded fine, performance was great, everything was running smooth, everything was running full speed. No complaints, man. I gotta say, I was pretty impressed that a lot of the Dreamcast games that I tested, they ran really, really well on here. But don't be fooled, of course, because not everything is going to run perfectly. Like, for instance, tried to fire up the Dreamcast version of Power Stone, and it just got stuck on this screen. Nothing happened. It wouldn't load or fire up the game. Yet it loads and fires up when I have this image running on my actual other gaming PC that I use for YouTube videos and stuff. And of course, what's great about the Dreamcast is there were so many great arcade ports on the Dreamcast. And yeah, I have all the different like glass effects and stuff turned on to try and make the thing look more like a CRT. But as you can see here, man, everything's running smooth like butter when it comes to playing some Soul Calibur, which is a fun game to play on any arcade machine. I mean, I was a big Team Sega fan growing up, so of course I had to test out some Sega CD games, and, you know, Sega CD, obviously pretty easy to emulate. Haven't really seen many systems that can't handle it, so no issues there when it came to running your Sega CD games on this mini gaming PC that I could see, as well as your Sega 32X games. Like right here, we're playing some NBA Jam on the 32X. Everything was running very, very well. Again, you're really not going to have a lot of issues with running these type of systems on most hardware. It's usually when you try to push it to your Nintendo 64s, your Dreamcasts, your Sega Saturns, your anything above like PlayStation 2 level is when you start to encounter issues depending on the hardware, the optimization, and all that stuff. But I gotta say, man, Nintendo 64 was hit or miss on here with the games that I tried. PlayStation Portable actually ran really, really well as just any PlayStation game. No concerns whatsoever with those games on here. So, like, if you did actually want to play some console games, but for me, I always try to find the console games that translate to, hey, would be fun to play on an arcade machine. Those are the ones I want to play. Other than that, I prefer to play these type of games on my TV instead. Sometimes I just don't understand the fascination with playing every single console game on your arcade machine. I try to tell myself maybe that's the only way someone has access to play those games, and that's why they want to play it on their arcade machine. But games like this, I'd rather play on my TV with this mini PC connected to it with a controller in my hand. So this right here is my bread and butter when it comes to these mini gaming PCs, just finding great arcade games to play on them and then connect them to an arcade machine to have a great arcade experience emulated, be it not. This typical gaming PC, it retails for $600, but it's 42% off right now, Black Friday deal. So $349 plus an additional $35 coupon. So if you guys are interested, link is in the video description below. Thanks for checking out the video. Let me know what you think. Give us a thumbs up on the way out. And as always, my dudes, thank you for subscribing.